Hello, hi everyone. So let's talk about Qatar for a minute, yeah?
It's home to skyscrapers, big businesses, and moneyed sheikhs as everyone imagines it to be. Besides its desert landscapes and sandy beaches, this tiny Gulf state has many other wonders that make it a popular tourist destination. Be it a predominantly Islamic country with Sharia law as its main source of legislation, Qatar is a progressive, vibrant economy having its future built at fast speed. The migrant labor force is driving the Emirates' rapid industrialization. Expatriates make up nearly 90% of Qatar's total population, which is among the highest such rate in the world. The migrant force and tourists who visit Qatar have diverse ethnic, religious, cultural, and social backgrounds, making it a melting point of many cultures. However, the country retains its Arabic culture, identity, and Islamic religion since they are state baked. In addition to rules regarding alcohol, the Persian Gulf country also has strict regulations on illegal drugs, dress codes, particularly for women, proselytizing, same sex relations, women traveling alone, and photography. The Sharia law extends regulation to most spheres of society, including politics, sports and entertainment, education, and sexual relations through prescription by the religious authority, which is then enforced by the political authority. Thus, there is a restraint in individual behavior and morality as well as community excesses through laws. Qatar is a country on the desired end of many spectrums. Hence, its attractiveness and allure to be a top tourist destination in the world. It's among the richest countries in the world by GDP per capita. It has one of the lowest petroleum prices in the world, in addition to being one of the safest nations with a low crime rate and few natural disasters occurrence, coupled with high level preparation. It's home to some of the best airlines and tallest skyscraper buildings. Its welfare system for its citizens is highly ranked with great health facilities and quality social amenities. The 2022 World Cup hosted in Qatar captured the imagination of many people across the globe. Chiefly among other reasons was that the global four-year tournament was a first in many ways. It was the first World Cup tournament played in the Middle East region. This made Qatar the first Muslim country to host the global football tournament in its 92-year history. Secondly, the fanfare that comes with the four-year football bonanza at the host country was purely of raw enthusiasm. As part of Qatar's temperance on alcohol, drinking alcohol was banned inside the stadiums. However, it was available at hotels and designated fan zones. Measures such as sobering tents were put in place to ensure that there was an alternative to arrest or jail time to fans who had a little bit too much, amounting to inappropriate behavior. Possibly, all these measures were to avoid reckless, violent behavior from football revelers, generally termed as public nuisance. Therefore, for many beer loving football fans, it's safe to say that a huge number of them were not quite enthusiastic about traveling to Qatar to enjoy the tournament. For recovering alcohol addicts and especially football lovers, the Qatar experience turned out to be a blessing in disguise because the exposure to the alcohol culture that once surrounded them was immensely reduced. Another group of people that enjoyed the Qatar hosted World Cup was women and female fans who appreciated the feeling of safety and comfort inside and outside the stadiums. But of course, the group that mostly enjoyed the Qatar experience was the Argentine football team that won the competition. Consumption of alcohol is severely limited as a result of the state's authority and attitudes driven from Islamic principles in the Sharia law. Drinking alcohol in Qatar is legal, but it is heavily regulated and can only be consumed in licensed hotels and bars. This means that drinking alcohol is widely considered a social taboo and that Qatari authorities have an almost zero tolerant policy to alcohol. It is illegal to import alcohol into Qatar. Alcohol is quite expensive in Qatar because the government has imposed a 100% tax on alcohol. For starters, the drinking age is 21 years, while Muslims are prohibited from drinking. For non-Muslims, a purchasing permit is needed, and even when given, there's a limit to how much one can spend on alcohol. Besides a complete alcohol ban on the holy month of Ramadan, it is an offense to drink in public or to be intoxicated in any way. To stay out of trouble, don't offer alcohol to a Muslim, and definitely do not drink and drive. The human personality is designed to adapt to any lifestyle and environment. Put man in the rainforest, he'll survive just as well as another man in the desert. Toss him in the sea, he will swim and navigate his way around like the man floating in the air. Man is a formidable specimen of nature that can thrive and survive anywhere, even in depressing circumstances and conditions. That is why man will use any scrap of evidence from his environment to build and maintain behaviors, even the destructive ones like substance and alcohol addiction. Mind you, man's habits form behaviors. His behaviors form a lifestyle. This lifestyle, he celebrates and honors it through arts and culture. His arts and culture become his civilization. Environment, the conditions and circumstances that surround a person account for about 50% risk for developing an addiction, with genetic factors accounting for the remaining half. Common environmental risks for addiction include unstable living environment, family dysfunction, history of trauma, peer pressure, stress and pressure from at work or school, and unsafe community. Environment is an important factor in successful recovery from addiction. The same environmental factors that can lead to addiction also pose a major risk for relapse. One major focus of treating addiction is consciously addressing and making crucial healthy environmental changes that promote recovery. In other words, it is enriching the environment of a recovering addict. A positive environment for a person in recovery is an environment that is stimulating, challenging, engaging, and offers social and physical activity. To promote a successful recovery in the long term, the environment should stimulate brain function and enhance cognitive resilience. Willpower and good intentions alone are never enough to end an addiction. That's because addiction is a complex disease with a number of underlying causes that must be addressed. Qatar is a preferred travel destination for many people. Multimillionaire investors, renowned athletes, migrant workers, international tourists, among others. One such group of people keen on exploring Qatar are people recovering from substance use disorders. Why, you may ask? For starters, I'll tell you a few reasons why the Qatar experience is stirring attention of recovering addicts of alcohol and their loved ones. With over 2% of the world being dependent on alcohol or an illicit drug, many seek therapy to curb their addictions from numerous places and through different ways. Qatar has punitive drug laws compared to other countries, which serves as a good deterrent to drug users. For alcoholics, the many legal restrictions before one can get an intoxicating drink in their hands discourages many. Secondly, it is expensive to maintain an addiction in Qatar. Under the selective tax law, the country heavily taxes special purpose goods like alcohol, cigarettes, pork products, and energy drinks, which means cutting back on these products. Thirdly, as all other places where bans are common, bootlegging goes hand in hand, although with dire consequences. Bootleg alcohol in Qatar increases an addict's chances of consuming affordable liquor, but at the cost of their health, which is costly for non-citizens. And above all, the punishment of jail time in a foreign land is not so much a pleasant experience. Lastly, working or staying at a new environment is an experience that invigorates a person and stimulates formation of new habits. Experiencing a foreign land and sampling its arts and culture, its languages and expression, its music and cuisines enhances personal perspectives in a life-changing way. Importantly, the religious culture of Qatar, which surrounds an expatriate or a tourist in the country in the form of Islam, is a constant reminder to seek a higher force of life, God. The culture of strict observance, daily prayers, and festivals like Ramadan may remind people battling with SUD that one's life is not just a personal pursuit of gratification, it is also the communal fellowship of satisfaction. Here in Qatar, combining the much available labor opportunities, the rigorously particular regulations, and the rich Arabic culture with a pious lifestyle is a sure strategy that has the potential to equip recovering addicts with skills, stability, and a second chance they need. a second chance they need to cope with their cravings, stress, and other important triggers for addiction. The Qatar experience significantly reduces a recovering addict's exposure to high risk situations that may trigger a desire to use drugs or alcohol. This may include being at gatherings where alcohol is served or drugs are being used, or in close proximity to familiar people, either friends or family that one got high with, or places where one frequented. The Qatar experience is all about lifestyle changes. It's about acting upon one's work, social, home, and family environments to help maintain successful recovery for the long term. Today, Qatar is increasingly becoming a new destination that gives hope to people struggling with substance and alcohol addiction. Qatar is a new haven where recovering addicts and people battling addiction are positively embracing a new frame of mind on their sobriety journeys. Alcoholics suffer most from a lack of alcohol, and being in a location that minimizes one's exposure to a drinking culture alongside spiritual environment has benefited many with additional perspectives on life, checking one's excesses, and seeking a higher life force. Most people leave Qatar thinking it was a good decision. After all, the 2022 World Cup, with its successes, demonstrated that life can be enjoyed without alcohol. We don't always need alcohol to celebrate special events. Sometimes being sober gives a new, different type of celebration. We will still safely mingle with people and still get to enjoy the celebration of life itself. The Qatar experience is about being intentional to seek sobriety, not just recovery. It's about taking initiative individually on a decision that one has made to sober up, to be conscious of one's responsibility as a person, a friend, and a human being. It is to be intentional with the decision one has made to be consistent in its pursuit. The Qatar experience is therefore about seeking sobriety by being mindful and centering oneself. I've been your host, Mutugi Getonga. Thank you so much for watching, and make your mental health a priority. Thank you and goodbye.